legal things we can take care of it.
Yes,
really
absolutely.
Nice. Well, do you have any wishes for BVR property?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, wow. Well, first of all, my team, I'm so proud to be a
Hello smart people, welcome to BVR Group Asia YouTube channel with me Reggie, also known as BVR Broadcaster under the brand of BVR Group Asia. And I'm super excited today. As you can see here, I am in the beautiful villa in Canggu. And right now, I would like to have an interview with one of our family from BVR Property, that is Sherry Angelique Power. Who is she? Let's find out.
Hi, my name is Sherry Angelique Power. I'm a senior marketing specialist for BVR Property, a division of BVR Group Asia. I pride myself in service excellence.
Sherry Angelique Power, how are you?
Selamat siang, Rangy. Well, and yourself?
Selamat siang. I'm good, thank you. You look prettier today.
Thank you very much. You
And
look
always.
beautiful yourself.
Thank you. Well, as we know that you are a part of BVR Group Asia family and working in BVR Property, so in this good occasion, we would like to have a short of interview and like introductions of BVR Property. So I guess you'll know my first question, right?
Yes.
So by the way, we will we're right now shooting in the beautiful villa in Canggu, right?
Yeah, no, we're fortunate to actually be on this location today. It's a beautifully newly built property, and yeah.
And this is one of our listing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
great. So, yeah, back to the topic. So my questions is about what is BVR Property and what kind of services that BVR Property provide to the society.
Good question. BVR Property, we are a registered real estate business within Indonesia. We're a fully licensed company with over 10 years collective experience in the property industry. I'm originally from South Africa. I was in property in South Africa for a long time as well. And that little bit of knowledge that I built up there, brought it into Indonesia. And I've been fortunate enough to be here for the last 5 years. And so we deal from anything from commercial real estate to villas to lands, hotel acquisitions, everything is sort of
Complete.
Yeah, it's a complete sort of, whatever you're looking for, we'll be able to assist you.
That's great. So from what I know, property agencies in Bali is a lot. There's so many. So what distinguishes BVR Property than any other property agencies in Bali?
Look, we've definitely seen that there's a lot of new agencies popping up all over the island. And BVR Group Asia has been around for a couple of years, so the director's Herb Minor, he had a vision and he wanted to bring that vision into Indonesia, and he did. In the last couple of years, the company's grown leaps and bounds, and he wanted to create a fully integrated business, whether you're looking for marketing or whether you're looking for property, legal services, anything that you can possibly think of that you would need from start to finish, we've got you covered. We've got 14 divisions within the business, and I'm proud to say, they're always growing, always evolving, always expanding, which is it's phenomenal, and I'm glad to be a part of the family.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned before you have a legal firm, right?
Yeah.
From what I know, I heard that BVR Group Asia also just opened a BVR legal firm. So, may I know how you coordinate with them? So in terms of
look, we lean on the legal department quite a bit because in property we have to do due diligences, and we have to make sure that the documentation is above board, that people are legally able to obtain their leases or freehold titles. So our legal division, they pretty much touch on everything from visas to setting up a PTPMA. They do due diligence, notary services, any legal advice, and we've even got lawyers on board that if there's any legal disputes, they're able to assist you with that as well.
That's really cool. So my next question that come up in my head is about pandemic COVID-19. We know that in the past 2 years it's really bad. Everything is chaotic, especially the economic sectors were stopped, right? So my next question is about how the property market performing after the 2 years hard time during the pandemic COVID-19.
Very interesting question. I've been in Bali quite a number of years now, and you look at Bali's history and all the significant situations, all the things that has happened in the past. With Bali, with the Bali bombing that happened, with the earthquake, Mount Agung, and you see a trend. You see Bali recovering very quickly. Bali's always landed on its feet, and I think it's a lot to do with the culture and the people. A very resilient island, and COVID-19 was no exception to that rule. We saw that it was affected. I think the whole world was affected, but it bounced right back. And Bali is stronger now than it was prior COVID. Things have changed and things have moved on. New areas are being developed. But even throughout the entire, COVID-19 period, we've seen a massive upturn in developments happening. They're looking at changing road infrastructure now because of all the tourism that has come back, and people are making this their second home now. So, again, and short answer to that, Bali's recovered extremely well, very resilient.
So what about the BVR property itself during the COVID-19?
We're fortunate in a sense of we've got 14 different divisions. The directors have a lot of foresight, and even throughout the COVID period, we went from a handful of staff to over 40 staff at the moment. So, and that growth happened throughout the COVID period. So again, I think a lot of businesses, a lot of families, a lot of communities were affected, but a lot of people thrived as well. There was opportunity in all of that. And I think that BVR, they've grown from strength to strength throughout everything that has happened. And now, the business is flourishing because the initiative that was used to get us to where we are today.
That's really great. So it means we survive even if it is COVID-19, but we survive. That's really great.
But we're a family, so we all lean on each other. If one division, needs to feed off another division, we incorporate that within the business structure because we fully integrated our clients. We use our clients, not only if they're buying a property, but then we'll suggest if they want to use the legal services, if they wanted to use marketing or management for their villas as well. So there's a lot of ways in referring business as well, and I think that we all have been very good at keeping it in the family, so to speak.
Lovely. So speaking of the property in Bali, I heard it is a common terms in terms of property field in Bali. I heard there is a leasehold property and freehold property. So could you tell us what is the difference between these terms?
I think it's quite self-explanatory, but a freehold title is generally where a property is owned outright. So this can be obtained by an Indonesian citizen, or it can be obtained through a PTPMA business. And leasehold is exactly what that is. You're purchasing a property on a shorter lease term, so anything from 10 years up to 50, 60 years, if you're lucky.
So say leasehold is like a rent? And then
not really rent, no, but yes, so to speak. You're basically buying a 25-year lease or a 30-year lease, but yes.
It's a long-term lease.
Yes. And of course, you've got your extensions that are written into the master lease agreements. So, even if you're only purchasing a 25-year lease, there's always that safety net in your master lease agreement that allows you to extend should that period come to a close.
Well, Sherry, my next question is about you and your team as a property agent. So what is the value that you can give to other people, especially your client who needs your assistance?
It's a very interesting question. I think I answered that in one of our earlier questions. BVR Group Asia we're a fully integrated business. Meeting needs from finding a property to closing the property, successfully closing the deal, to management services, to marketing services. I think that there's just so much we offer that no other real estate business on the island can offer or is even able to. but all under one roof. So you don't have to go anywhere else. We've got you covered. And I think that is the most important aspect of BVR Group Asia, is because the clients don't have to look very far to get the assistance that they need.
Well, I would say like our client don't need to go far away because we have everything under one roof. It's really interesting, right? So we have notary and legal things. We can take care of it.
Yes,
it's really
absolutely.
Nice. Well, do you have any wishes for BVR property?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, wow. Well, first of all, my team, you know, I'm so proud to be a part of the team, part of the family. You know, watching it grow over the last couple of years, as much as it has, even throughout the pandemic period. I'm fortunate to be a part of this growing team and this expanding team. And, you know, I wish us all the best of luck, my team, my family, and I want us all to grow and succeed together.
That's great. For sure, I want to be like a part of the family as well.
You are a part of the family.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're waiting for the come up project like webinar. We have webinar rights.
Oh yeah, no, that's an exciting look. We're going to be walking into 2023.
Yeah.
All excited. There's a lot of new things happening.
Yes.
You know, from property perspective, we've really changed the game a bit. So next year is going to be very, very exciting for all of us. And then yeah, the rest of the business as well. I mean, there's so much new stuff happening in the new year. I'm excited.
Something new coming.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Sherry, for your time taking this conversation. It's really great. I love it.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. And let's not forget to show you guys this beautiful villa that we're sitting in today.
This is in Canggu. And really beautiful. You can check in our video as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you for your time. Well, smart people, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to all social media you have. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye!
3 common mistakes foreigners make when investing in Bali property. Mistake 1. Not using a licensed real estate agency in Bali.
Putu, why are you not responding to my messages anymore? I've already paid you.
The consequences of not having a licensed property agency can have a big impact on your future property, like this.
Mistake 2. Picture speaks 1,000 words. You have arrived in your destination. That is why it is important to check your future property properly. Mistake 3. Handshake deals.
Remember guys, handshake deal will never secure your property. If you want to know more about avoiding these common pitfalls and any other leasehold related information, join our webinar series now.
Good.
Excited today?
Very excited.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming in this studio. We just have live 2 days ago in this studio, and now we're on the air for our webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renji.
Well, as FYI, I would like to say this is an amazing and exciting day because we have quite good participants from various countries. We have from Singapore, Australia, India, Indonesia, and within Indonesia we also have from Bali and from Jakarta. Let's say hi to them.
Hello, guys.
Welcome, welcome, and thank you so much for joining our webinar today. So, yeah, as you know, guys, in Indonesia there is a idiom that's saying tak kenal maka tak sayang, which mean if we don't know each other, then we don't care each other. Hence, in this special occasion, we would like to introduce our first speaker, which is Sherry Angelique Power. Well, Sherry Angelique Power, which is our marketing executive, is at BVR Property, has her technical financial accounting diploma for Boston College in 2015. She got real estate level 4 certification by SITA South Africa in 2018, certified in digital marketing in 2020. She has 11 years of experience in sales and marketing field, and she also nominated as the top 25, which 4 years running from 2014 to 2018 in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to our first speaker, Sherry Angelique Power.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction there, Renji. I do appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Great, welcome everyone. Welcome to the first webinar of 2023. It's a very exciting year. So let's get started. I only have a few minutes this morning to run through a few talking points with you guys. This is what foreigners need to know about leasehold acquisitions within Bali. Our discussion topics today would be about the vaccines, the borders opening up. Of course, this is exciting for everyone. The tourism numbers over the last 15 years, pre and post-pandemic property value, things to know before purchasing property in Bali, and where should you buy property on the island. Next. Bali's borders are open. This is very, very exciting. We have 86 countries listed for visa on arrival. Mainland China flights has been approved, and of course the vaccine requirements has been lifted. Of course, that's depending on the airline. Airlines may still request you to show a vaccine certificate, but as for Ngurah Rai Airport, we are clean and clear to go. I'm happy to announce that. Our president also signed off on a statement letter saying that the social distancing has also been lifted. So that's very, very exciting for us all. Everything feels like it's actually returning to a semi-normal before everything happened. Next. Numbers of tourism in Indonesia for the last 15 years. As you guys can see, there's a graph by Statistica in 2023 that basically shows our tourism numbers for the last 15 years. In 2018, we saw 6 million tourists visit the island. This is a massive, massive number. Of course, in 2019, 2020, and 2021, we saw a significant drop in that graph during the pandemic period. In 2022, we touched on 2 million tourists when the borders reopened up. So we're glad to announce that Bali is on the up and up, on the rise. Of course, in the last couple of decades, there's been quite a few significant, important difficulties that Bali has faced, i.e. the Bali bombings, SARS, Mount Agung eruption, and of course COVID-19 being no exception to what has happened. And Bali's always recovered extremely strongly from any adversities that it's faced. The island is very, very strong in that sense, and every single time the market has just come back stronger and stronger each time. Tourism, of course, was affected worldwide by the COVID pandemic, which we saw when the borders closed down in February 2020. We saw that it basically slowed down until May of 2020. During that period, we definitely had a massive increase in freehold sales, which majority of our market was Jakarta. And the property values that we saw dropped significantly, between 30 and 50% in sales value. Hence, those properties weren't listed or marketed at those significant drop prices. However, when it came to negotiations, those properties did sell for 30 to 50% less. So, if you had the means to purchase property throughout the last 2 years, of course, I think majority of people would know that they purchased. It was a very good purchase for them to make. It was a good investment if you had the financial means. So your negotiating power was really strong. So if you can see the villa on the screen there, VBR Property was involved in that sale. That is Villa Leasehold in Umalas, situated on about 11 Ara. It's 2 villas, 7 bedrooms, and a 17-year leasehold. That property, pre-COVID, was marketed for $670,000. We sold that property for $350,000 during the COVID pandemic period, which, I mean, again, just coming back to and reiterating, sales prices did significantly drop. People were unsure about where to go, what to do, so they sold their properties for significantly less. In saying that, a lot of people gained, of course, by purchasing during the pandemic period. Next screen. So we predict Bali to basically recover really strongly. We've seen significant numbers, increase in ROI, increase in occupancy. We've seen a vast variety of people visiting the island. A lot of countries have changed. Of course, Australia is still our biggest market. Internal travel as well. And then we've also seen Russia, the US, India, and Singapore visiting the island this year quite strongly. So we are predicting that the island is going to really recover really well. We're excited to say that property prices have definitely increased quite a bit. Rental prices, same thing, to say the least, rental prices have really increased. Some a little bit too much, I believe, but in saying that, we will see the markets probably leveling out towards the middle of this year. Right, next screen. Okay, things you should know before buying property in Bali. So Bali has been dubbed, one of the best tourist destinations in the world by TripAdvisor. We've also Canggu was rated the 4th best place to live and invest in 2019 by Forbes magazine, which is fantastic. I mean, Bali has always been very, very great at investment, villas, vacation homes, rental demands. And then, of course, foreigners can purchase properties in Indonesia without having a citizenship in Indonesia, only passports. Averages on return on investment in Bali is between 8 and 12%. Some areas fetch significantly more than that. I think at the moment, some properties that I'm aware of do 25% actually. Next. Great. So this slide basically comes down to how do you start looking for property in Bali? We get these questions quite a bit. People not really understanding what they're looking for, and the question you should ask yourself when you are looking and wanting to invest in Bali: what do you want to buy? Do you want an investment, or do you want a private residence, or a little bit of both? The location, of course, is very important. Resident locations, you'll look at more quieter areas. Investment locations, you'll look at the more tourism-driven areas. What type of property are we looking at? Are you looking for land? Is it a brand new villa? Are you looking to buy off plan? Or is a secondary home okay? And then, of course, budget is very, very important. I think people, when you ask yourself those 4 questions, you'll have a narrowed down perspective of what it is to look for. Bali is really, really flooded with villas, and there's so many new developments popping up. And I think when you narrow it down for yourself with these 4 questions, or for your clients, when you narrow it down, it makes life just a bit easier to know what you're looking for. Next.
So how much does property cost in Bali? Oh, this is very interesting actually. So newly built villas on 2 to 3 ara. Now ara is 1 ara is 100 square meters of land. So villas in Brawa, currently in Canggu, with a 25-year lease, offers about $300,000 on a 25-year lease, depending. Land prices in the same area is between $1,000 to $1,700 per ara per year. That is rental prices. Apartments can be as little as 100,000. Luxury beachfront or beachside properties can start from as little as $500,000. Please, that is dependent, and of course they can go up to the millions. So it really just depends on where and what you're looking for. Off-plan developments are relatively well priced at the moment. You know, you can see a significant uptake in your sales value once the property has hit completion. So I think a lot of people are looking at off-plan developments at the moment. They can buy a property for $150,000 and then of course sell that same property 12 months later at a 40% increase, which is fantastic. And I think that is why so many people are leaning more towards the off-plan market at the moment. Great. How do I buy property in Bali? So, you know, this is very interesting because I believe that you need to know who you're working with. Trust the people that you are going to entrust finding a property, you know, for you. I would say you should be able to trust your investment with your partner, with that partner that you basically entrusting finding the villa for you, because we run through all the legal documentation. We'll make sure everything is above board, of course refer you to the best notaries, and then also do a pre-due diligence prior to a notary actually doing a proper due diligence. Also work with a well-known legal advisor in order to secure your investment. Make sure that the property's documents are in order. And then of course, the best thing for me as a professional, I would say work with someone that has a real estate license and that is registered within Indonesia. If you are a foreigner looking at purchasing property in Bali, all you need is a valid passport, and it has to be valid for at least 12 months. Use a reputable notary, as I've mentioned, and a leasehold property is called hak sewa, which is leasehold rights. A pandakasata is a rental license. Please make sure that the ITR permits, or the zoning permits, you to actually apply for a pandakasata on your property, as the zoning has to allow commercial purposes. So next we are going to discuss the different areas in Bali that is best for investment. Now everyone knows Canggu is currently it's growing, it's been developed, it's, like I've mentioned, 4th best place to live and invest in Forbes magazine in 2019. There's a lot of surf cafes, beaches, and then of course all the beach clubs that has currently popped up in Brawa and towards the coast, towards Prerenan. Prerenan is of course during the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen a massive upturn in the Prerenan, a lot of new developments happening there, and relatively cheaper than Canggu at the moment, but on the up and up. Seminyak being the 3rd best place to invest. It's a golden oldie. I think everyone loves Seminyak. But in terms of prices, I think Seminyak has reached a ceiling. This is for your more seasoned sort of resort vacationers, where there's a lot of shopping, cafes. Everything is developed within Seminyak. So it remains a strong location. Prices are fairly high. Umalas being the 4th place, it's the favorite amongst expats, of course, because it's got the easier access to international schools, boutique cafes and restaurants, and then of course it's close to Canggu and Seminyak at the same time with the shortcuts. Krobokang is a down-to-earth atmosphere. It's also on the up and up at the moment, more local sort of residents on that side. And there's a lot of attractions coming up in Krobokang as well. Relatively cheaper prices and lands and villas, and of course international schools as well. Semagi and Sese. Now, this is one of my favorite locations. It's quite largely, it's untouched, it's still very green. It's minutes away from Perunan and Canggu. And then, of course, you can still have views, ocean and rice field views. I would suggest that if you're looking at land banking, these two areas right here is probably your best bet. You can still get relatively cheaper prices in these locations, and we will see a massive upturn in land value or resale in villa value in the next couple of years. Sanua, being the oldest fisherman's village on the island, of course, is one of my favorites as well. With the newly designed promenade that they've built there, I just absolutely love the atmosphere. The ambience is great, and it's also, the prices are relatively cheaper than this side. And then, of course, it's a more mature audience, to say. So it is great for investment. And then we have Ubud. Now, I do believe everyone knows Ubud is, largely associated with the yogis. There's a very diverse lifestyle there. Investment opportunities are still big. It's got a lot of mountain range and green view, which is fantastic, but massive development opportunities. And it is the second best place in Bali, apparently, to invest in, next to Canggu. So, and then lastly, we have the Phuket Peninsula. Now, this is Millionaires Row. This is the area where you will find a majority of your luxury resorts, villas with views, cliffront properties, and cliffront attractions. Some of the best waters, blue waters, white sands, absolutely one of my favorites. And land prices are, it's one of the fastest developing areas, Bingen and Uluwatu specifically being one of the fastest developing areas in the Phuket. And you can still develop there for relatively cheaper than, of course, West, but the South is definitely on the rise. We've definitely seen massive upturn in land prices on that side. So my last slide, I would just like to say thank you very much. I have unfortunately run out of time, so I will be passing it back to Renji.
All right, thank you so much, Sherry. It's a
Thank
wonderful presentation. We've got a lot of insight today in terms of the best areas for investment. For me, myself, I'm living in Seminyak, and it's super amazing place. There's a lot of fancy, and then like the food court, and then the traffic is really good infrastructure. But hold on, we feel our audience, it's already have a few questions here in our YouTube channel. We have Gaby have questions, and then Nima De Astini, hi. Don't worry, we will answer your questions after the 2 sessions of presentations. Now we have to move on to our second guest, which is Mas Farhan here. So Mas Farhan, before we would like to introduce again, I would say there is a quote that's saying "Tak kenal maka tak sayang." So let me introduce you our second speaker of the day, which is Farhan Fajar Lesmana. Farhan Fajar Lesmana, or also known as our appraisal manager of BVR Appraisal. He was graduated with a Bachelor of Law degree from Pelita Harapan University in 2015, has 7 years of experience in property appraisal and business valuation, certified and involved in MAPI, or Masyarakat Penilai Profesi Indonesia, or in English we say Indonesian Appraisal Association. And he also certified as a financial modeling and valuation analyst by Corporate Finance Institute in London. Woo! What amazing speaker of the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our second speaker, Farhan Fajar Lesmana. Let's give a round of applause.
Hello, guys. So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's such an honor for me to be here, yeah.
Yeah. After 2 days ago, we do live as well.
Of course. So, today, we will discover your property value. This is the important thing for you to know your property value. Next. So, today's topic is about valuation. What is different about valuation and appraisal? valuation approaches, market approach, cost approach, and why using appraisal service. And last but not least, what is BVR appraisal consulting and research services. Next. So I believe all of you is have question what the difference between between valuation and appraisal. So I would say valuation is a valuing property without considering valuation method or approaches as well as the purpose of your valuation. But appraisal is valuing property by considering valuation method as well as a valuation objective. So as appraisal, many things they need consider before calculating your property, such as method and then approaches. Second is valuation does not have appraiser qualification, but as appraiser have a qualification from national or international standard, like I have is from MAPI or in certification in London with CFI. Third is everyone can do it, which is you, Renji, and Sherry can do it for evaluation because based on the current situation. But as appraiser, not everyone can do it because they must go through the education recommended by the appraisal association. So the appraiser have more knowledge than evaluation to calculate your property in the right way. Last is only consider current market value, but for an appraiser, many things they consider in terms of access of property, condition your property, commercial value, and uniqueness, and many more. So I would say your property value is not about how much your land and how much your building. It's about how about your access, how about your building condition and depreciation, and last, what the uniqueness of your property. So there is a added value of your property. That's why you need go to appraisal before you know your value your property. Next, as appraiser, there is three approaches to calculate your asset.
Okay.
So first is a market approach, which is as a valuation, always using these approaches to use comparables and then get the precedent transaction. But as a appraiser, there is another approaches such as cost approach to get cost to build and then reproduce the replacement cost, and then income approach. This is the interesting topic. We will explain in the
third series of our webinar.
Because in the income approach, we will calculate your business with discounted cash flow to get your forecast future value. So before I'm going to value your property, it's better you watch our third webinar, how to generate your revenue using your property. So before I going to your property, our director will explain you more details about how to generate revenue. Next.
Cool.
Okay. This step is explain about what is market approach. This is I would say this is easier approaches to calculate your property because the market approach is a method used to determine the appraisal value of your property by considering the market price of comparable asset that has been sold recently or those that are still available. So I will say this approach can use by the asset like vacant land and similar housing. And in the next topic, I will explain why this approaches is not really good because many disadvantages and there is advantage too about this approach. Next. please. So the advantage of this approach is too straightforward and involve simple calculation. That's why as a valuation can use this approach because it's simple to make a comparable between data and object valuation. And it use data that real and a public. As you know, many property agent or listing that showing how much the property current situation. So it's easy to get the information. And it's not dependent on the subjective forecast. So it's not related with how much the next future value of your property. So like I will say the simple thing is this approach is easy to get your property value.
Valuation.
And there is the disadvantage. It's difficult to identify the transactions that are comparable. There is usually a lack of sufficient number of similar comparable that are transaction, and then it's less flexible compared to other methods, which is there is cost and income method, and then the method raises many questions. How much the data is available and how good the data is. So as a client, if you get a valuator to calculate your property just using market approach, I believe all of you have many questions. For the example, if your house using swimming pool, and then as a valuator compare your house without swimming pool, you have question, right? Why your property compared by not without swimming pool?
Yeah.
That's why these approaches, there is a disadvantage how to get the data.
Okay.
Because it's hard to find apple to apple data. But in the next approaches, please next. In these approaches, I will say this is the best approaches because we will calculate your building and land separately. So cost approach is appraisal method that estimate price buyers should pay for a piece of property is equal the cost to build equivalent building. In the cost approach, the property value is equal the cost of land plus cost of construction less depreciation. It yields the most accurate market value when property is new through alternative method. So, like I said before, this method make it separate between building and land because your building has another value and your land has a special value. So in this page, how to calculate the cost approach. First is we need to know your replacement production cost. Is based on association in Indonesia. There is a standard for highest building, medium building, and low building. After we get this standard with replacement cost, we need to know how much your depreciation building with your information, or I will say like building permit, and then your building permit since like for example like 2010, and then the debt appraisal is 2020. And then there is a 10-year your building age. So, your building age divided economic building value. I will say the economic building value in Indonesia 40 until 50. After you divided between the building age divided the economic value, you will get the percentage. And this percentage times the replacement cost. And then in this case, we get 150,000 depreciation, and then depreciation cost the structure 850, and then plus value of land. Why I said this is the perfect method for your property? Because we consider your land value based on the market first, and then after we get your value based on the market, we calculate your building. It's easier for appraiser find out how much the land price in the surrounding area than find the similar building around the area. That's why we will get a fair value of your property once we use this approach. Next, please. Benefit using appraisal service. Of course, you will know the fair value of your property, understanding the evolution of your property value. It's help to make a right decision, even to buy or sell or joint venture. And last is a for building. You can identify the depreciation value of a building. If I have another time, I will explain you how to avoid your building depreciation. It will be interesting topic, right?
Yes,
Okay, next please. Okay, this is the last but not least. Please introduce us. We are BVR Appraisal Consulting and Research. That we have three kind of services. First is a property appraisal. Property appraisal is where we assess your property to be sold or leased, to find out the fairness of your value of your property. Second is a business valuation, where we will assess your property to know how much money you can generate using your asset or company asset. Third is asset management consultancy, which is Sherry already sharing 6 place or how
Nine
much?
places.
9 places for
For
investment in
investment in
Bali. But before you make the decision, it's best time to use our services like asset management consultancy. So you will know how the feasible and how the marketability your property before doing the business. So you will feel safe before you doing the business. So the risk is make it lower than you
Yeah.
doing a business without this service.
Wow.
So what you waiting for? Check out
Check out our website.
www.appraisalwbvrgroupasia.com.
Woohoo!
Okay, I think that's all from me. If you have any question, please
Feel free
feel
to.
free to ask. I would love to answer your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Farhan.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Farhan and Sherry. It's such a wonderful presentation. We got a lot of insight, especially for the appraisal thing. Now I learned a lot because mostly I thought before we can do valuation by ourselves, but we need to in-depth appraiser to do that to get the exact value of our property.
And then get to make a right decision.
Yes, that's
Look, we cannot easily do market evaluations. We can't do an in-depth evaluation. So as he explained, majority of evaluations happen on land and building. He works land, building, pool, depreciation, appreciation, is their income, is their expenses.
Yeah.
They work it out so in depth, which is great. And that is why, he does really well. So
Thank you.
and it does give you a definite answer on your value of your property. It is not an estimate, it is a definite.
So it's definitely so you have maybe you guys have also like review from your customer as well for maybe can you share a bit story about them?
Okay. I will say many customer is happy
Happy.
to use our service because really helpful to get information doing a business first, and then second is helpful to buying the property because many property is there is a problem inside the property. For example, like there is no permit, and then the permit make it property is lower, so the buyer can make a new negotiation to the seller to get the right price before buying the property.
So there is a huge
As I mentioned, many things appraisal consideration, not just looking at the building. We're looking for the access, we're looking for the uniqueness of the property, and then we look for the commercial property. I will say, like, if I compare villa in Seminyak and we look villa in Tabanan, and then in Seminyak, in Seminyak located in the commercial area, but in Tabanan in residential.
so it's like
The type is same,
different.
a building,
A
but
building.
the
value is-
commercial
The value is
commercial
different.
value is different.
Yes.
So this is the easy example for you to understand what
We
is
do
a commercial
have quite
value.
a few clients that actually do an appraisal prior to purchasing a property, purely because a property can be marketed at, let's say, $300,000, but the property's value is actually only 250. Then, of course, it's like he said, you go back to the seller and you can negotiate on price because a definite sales price. You might be buying something for $50,000 more or less, depending on the appraisal, which is really good.
Agree. So, by the way, there's a lot of questions here from our live chat. So now we're going to move on to our Q&A session. Yes.
Great.
So we got a lot of questions. This is from Mila Apsari. The first question: what are the current trends in Bali property market, and how might they affect investment opportunities? Maybe Sherry can answer it.
Look, the trend that we're basically seeing now is off-plan developments. Funnily enough, it's a booming market at the moment. A lot of people have land banked, and during the pandemic period, they bought land at a much cheaper price, and of course they're building now. So there's been a lot of off-plan developments happening, and of course, as I stated earlier, with an off-plan development, you can purchase something for $150,000, $200,000. Currently, resale is about 40% more once that development has gone to completion, which is fantastic.
Off-plan development. If I'm not mistaken, we're work in off-plan development as well.
Yes, we're in
BVR
the
property.
infant stages of getting our own developments in Bali as well, which is fantastic, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to speak about it a little bit more. However, once I have that information also.
All right. Thank you, Sherry. I hope Mila, it's answered. Now, next question we have Philsa Summer. I would like to know what are the legal requirements for foreigner investor looking to purchase property in Bali?
Well, legal requirements. Wow. Okay, so first of all, as I stated earlier, you need to use a reputable agency. As we do a prior due diligence to listing properties, we make sure that all the legal documentation is in order. So all a foreigner needs to purchase property in Indonesia is a valid passport and, of course, money in the bank. You have to have the capital because leases in Indonesia are not paid in stages. It is actually paid up front. You're buying a 25, 30-year lease up front. So for foreigners, it's fairly simple. You just have to have a valid passport.
Yes, agree.
And then the notary and the agent will do the rest.
And FYI, we also have our webinar on our second series. We will discuss about the legal thing of purchasing property in Bali as well.
We have our legal services team speaking of how to basically legally purchase.
Yes, so Philsa, please stay tuned. In our second webinar, we will discuss about the legal requirement for investing in property in Bali.
Indeed.
Anyway, we have Kurniawati Nyoman as well. What are the typical costs associated with buying property in Bali?
Good question. Okay, so this is once again just referring back to the very first one. You have to use a reputable agency because you can bump your head quite a few times. Walk into a few costs. However, generally speaking, when you purchase property, you buy the property at a set price. The only other cost that should be involved in that is the notary fees, of course. Generally speaking, sales taxes are for the seller, not for the buyer.
Agree.
Unless otherwise stipulated.
Okay, thank you so much, Sherry. I think we're going to move on to maybe this question is for you, Farhan. Yeah.
Finally, I think there is no question.
Yeah. Okay, this is from Gaby.
Gaby.
Maybe you know Gaby. Do you know Gaby?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so Gaby, also for appraisal, do you look at the condition, etc.? If not, would you have to recommend? Would you have a recommendations of a structure auditor or someone who can audit the state of structure?
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
That's interesting.
That's quite a bit hard question for me. So, actually, there is a difference between appraisal and maintenance surveyor. Maintenance surveyor is more depth to find out how damage how the damage your house to be renovated. But as appraisal, we're not focusing on your building structure deeply because we have standard association price building in especially in Indonesia based on MAPI that Rengi already said. So like I said in the cost approach, there is a replacement cost. From the replacement cost that association put the standard, we will make analysis about the internal depreciation from the damage that I can see, and then from the situation around the property, and then after I analyze that problem, and I start analyze that depreciation. Like I said, depreciation is from building age, and then minus economic value, and then less, and then after we get the dollar, we we make minus from your replacement cost, so we will get your property value. So the point is, as appraiser, we're not looking more deeply like surveyor maintenance.
Do you know any actual like villa inspectors that are able to do a cost analysis on a building?
Yeah.
Can you refer people?
I will say BVR appraisal have home inspection, but in this case, I'm not speaking about home inspection, but we are have service for your home inspection to know your renovation costs.
Oh, so we can actually do renovation cost. We can visit a property, see what it's worth.
Yes.
We'll see what
the damage
great
they
stuff.
are.
Okay, so that's included in what you guys do. That's fantastic.
Yes, that's fantastic. And anyway, Gabby is also questioning. There are other questions. Maybe this is Sherry can answer it. Hey, may I know how properties are depreciated over time and how long it takes a structure and depreciate to zero, please? Oh, this is Farhan's question. I thought. Anyway,
in the cost approach, I know there is a depreciation, but I already mentioned there is a way there is a way to avoid your depreciation value of your building. Like I said, like for example, to avoid your depreciation, like make a renovation, and then renewal your building, like maybe repaint your building, and then structure you renovate all your building. So it's how to avoid your depreciation. But
Question,
for
Farhan, is it possible for your building to depreciate to zero though?
I will say it's possible.
How many years would it take?
I have experience. I have experience inspection a house, and then the house already 30 years old, and then the building structure is really broken, and then because of the economic building value is 40 year, we call the building is already like a scrap.
Oh, so it's actually possible. Andres.
So it's still possible to make it depreciation, but
Yeah.
there is to avoid your building,
building
value,
value.
with the renovation.
So for Gabby, so it's possible to make like zero depreciation. Thank you for the questions, Gabby. This is a good questions. And also, I have a friend. This is my friend from Singapore.
Wow.
So he gave me the questions by my direct message to me. His questions is: are there investments are environmentally sustainable? Does a property investment guarantee a long-term visa for investors and his family?
Unfortunately, we don't have those available. So
Yeah.
you have to apply for a visa or KITAS in order to get
Investment.
long-term stay. Yeah, Bali is not one of the countries where you can purchase a set amount and purchase this price and get a residence or permanent stay. No, not at all. And
Okay.
eco-friendly properties, there's many of them available, especially towards Ubud. We're seeing a lot of eco-friendly developments happening. And then, of course, a lot of solar paneling, water filtration systems, green water energy. That's all actually being used in Umalasach and in Preranan and Canggu at the moment as well.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Selfa, for the questions. Thank you. I hope this question is answered by Sherry.
I hope
And
so.
thank you. And we have, I think, okay. We have one more questions from Nima De Astini. What type of property are in high demand for rental income in Bali? Which is a good question, I think.
It varies. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. I must say that we see a high demand in two-bedroom properties in your Canggu, Brawa, Batu Belong, Babakan, Padanan areas. There's a high demand for two-bedroom villas. Of course, we've also seen a significant increase in one-bedroom properties. Selling. The bigger bedrooms, of course, with the more bedrooms you have, the higher the price in the property becomes. So I think that sweet spot really lies between like 2 and 3 bedrooms within those locations. Absolutely.
All right, thank you for the answer. I hope Inima de Estini it's answered by Sherry. Maybe you want to add from you?
I think it depends who's your target. If your target is a B minus, you can make your property as a B minus pricing. So once you know your target, you know what you're building. That's why come to me and then doing
Doing
a
a
feasibility
feasibility
study
study.
of your property.
That's great. And if you want to do listing or looking for property to invest, you can
You can come to me.
come to Sherry. Well, anyway, maybe would be the last questions from Kade Widya Lestari. When will be the second webinar? Okay, maybe I will answer it. So our second webinar will be on 24th of February, which is we have our 2 speakers. We have Neil, which is our marketing specialist as well at BVR Property, and also we have Echo. He is our legal firm team.
Yes, he is an expert about legal in property in Bali.
Yeah, we're going to talk like this, and we will show you how to legally obtain your property investment in Bali. Well, I think this is an incredible webinar, incredible conversations as well. We got a lot of questions here from Gaby, and then from I think Gaby is want to question one thing again. May I ask one more question, please? Okay, Gaby, I will answer it. We will answer it. What are the government initiative, if any, to elevate Raya Canggu traffic congestion? A deep question.
No, listen, I don't work for the government, but I can tell you that there's definitely plans that they are going to do some roadworks within Canggu in order to, I mean, we all know Canggu traffic, that congestion is sometimes a little bit too crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So there are infrastructure, they want to build some more infrastructure in order to relieve traffic. I'm not sure how it's going to be done because there's already, such an influx of villas, and I don't know where they're going to find the road, to be quite honest. But
Agree.
it's Bali, they'll find that road.
But maybe it's just my questions that come up in my head. Is there any, like, we know Canggu is really bad in traffic jam, so it's still be a good investment for people who invest in, because this is crazy, the traffic jam.
But it really depends, because I mean, majority of the people that invest in Canggu are investing for investment. They're not investing to live there. No one really wants to live in Canggu, right? So, I'm speaking for myself because I would never want to live there. But for investment, that area is so good. So to just come back to the question, for investment reasons, you're not going to stay in the property for months on end, so you're not going to be congested in traffic all the time. Is if you renting the property out, people being on a holiday don't mind sitting in traffic for a bit.
Agree. Maybe from you, Farhan, you
I
want to
would
add
say,
something?
People going to Canggu is for travel. It's not for investment because right now is price is quite a bit high, right?
It is.
And as my experience, many investor asking for another location because they need more margin than they're not thinking about always Canggu and why always Canggu?
Why always Canggu?
Why we not find another opportunities in Bali? Bali is
A huge island.
so we need to discover more about Bali.
But that's what I mentioned earlier on. Semagi, Sese, those
Yeah.
areas towards Bali
Agree.
is going to Kaba. It's going to explode in the next couple
Yes.
of years because land prices have already hit a ceiling within certain areas, i.e. Canggu.
Yes, don't miss that moment.
Don't miss your
Yes.
moment.
So so I want to ask, when is the best time to invest then?
Right now.
Right now. Ladies and gentlemen,
Right now.
listen to this right now. Yeah.
It is right now. I mean, 2 years ago, like I said on the live the other day, 2 years ago we were having this conversation and,
Yeah.
people said, no, hold on, look at the prices now. 2 years from now, the prices are just going to be more.
Increase.
So
Yeah.
if you're gonna make the move, make it now.
Make it now. Ladies and gentlemen, which is smart people there, right now is the best time for investment. All right, Gabby, reply it. Thank you so much for the.
You are welcome.
Thank you so much
welcome,
for
Gabby.
the answer. You're welcome, Gabby. Maybe if you're interested more in our discussion like this, you can join our second webinar, which is on 24th of February, and which is next month. Don't forget to also, you can register directly to our admin. You can also get our contact. So thank you so much, Sherry and Farhan. It's a pleasure to have you guys here. It is a wonderful conversation. I hope all the participants, the questions is answered by them. If you have any questions that want to be answered, you can also ask through our direct message or our admin. You can also ask to them. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to have you guys here. We'll see you on the next webinar. Yay! Bye-bye.
Welcome to BVR Group Asia.
Since 2018, we successfully providing the best business solution for Asia and the world by providing professional and trusted services with years of experience.
We provide what great clients expect by maximizing all our resources and capabilities in providing the best for our clients.
To meet these expectations, BVR Group Asia always fully understands what clients expect and to retain the long-term relationship of our vision and mission statements to ensure we always BVR, building valuable relationship.
Currently, we have several divisions as a part of BVR Group Asia.
BVR Property provide hundreds of properties and nominated as the best real estate agency Southeast Asia in 2018 by DOT Property.
BVR Appraisal, the first leading global real estate consultant service provider in Indonesia, supported by experienced and skilled staff who have worked in these fields of assessment and consulting business.
BVR Investment, a real estate business investment services provider, provides services for project selection, marketing presentation design, business planning, financial analysis, sales, advertising, and communication.
BVR Architecture and Master Planning, delivering a full scope of services for single projects to large master plan destinations, architectural, interior design, procurement, master planning, including Asia's traditional practice of Feng Shui.
BVR Events, the solution for production logistics in Indonesia. Our planning system includes concept creation, selecting the right venue, organizing entertainment programs, and full production for it.
BVR Bali Holiday Rentals, the management team behind the major international hospitality brands. Our talented team negotiates the best arrangements in all areas, including reducing operational costs which directly affect the GOP, for both our large managed hotels right down to our single villas.
Bali Coffee Club, the original taste of high-quality Balinese coffee. From the beautiful land of Bali to your kitchen, wherever it may be, we share a part of our culture direct to you.
BVR Digital offers branding services to help your business grow in a changing world. From creative web design, mobile site development, and social media presence to graphic design, our services integrate technology with effective design to visually communicate your brand and business aim to the world.
BVR Advertising. As the exclusive taxi advertising in Bali, we committed in providing many options tailored to your business needs in attracting clients to increase your revenue and build your corporate branding.
BVR Legal Firm. We provide lawyer and legal consultant, notary and official certifier of title deeds, working permit service, establishment limited liability, legal due diligence, and legal drafting for various agreement.
BVR Foundation, the non-government organization or non-profit side of all that we do, has three cornerstones: spiritual, environmental, and preserving culture through art.
HD Management, the company behind the brand, offers practical support to hospitality organizations regardless of size and pride ourselves on building meaningful client relationships.
Sanders Family Office, a private investment firm established to exclusively manage the assets of the Sanders family.
Minor Family Office, wealth preservation and creation through empathic historical data and looking to the future.
Grand Land Corp, a highly structured real estate lending strategy coupled with a unique long-term relationships with investors and institutions.
Our global projects consist of our developments in various countries. Please refer to our website for our updated country destination developments. BVR Group Asia, the first fully integrated service company.